Hey guys, in this video I'm gonna show you the process of making the character, my bear character, and all the props like the different pumpkins and the different like tools for carving the pumpkin that I had in my animation that I just posted in my stop motion. I think right now I could probably tell you some facts about it. So it took me 2 weeks. It took me about 2 weeks to make. Hi Ginger. It took me 2 weeks to make all the pieces of it, so to design it. So I started off by drawing stuff on my iPad, and I got a nice sketch of how I wanted everything to look, and then I sketched it out on my sketchbook paper, and I cut it out, and then I made stencils first. And then after I made the stencils, I traced it out on the watercolor paper, then I watercolored it, and then I went over with colored pencils for little details, and I used acrylic paint for the white highlights. That's what I did with my props. It took me 2 weeks to do that, about 2 weeks to do that. And then I had to reserve the stop motion lab. It's called the drop shooter lab, so I had to reserve that so I could use it to film. And then I went and I filmed, and then it took me 5 hours to film. So it took me 5 hours to film it, and it was a total of 436 frames. So that's 436 pictures that I took of moving it, and it came out to be, it was about 37 seconds long, 36.3 repeating seconds to be exact. But yeah, that's like some details about it. Also, it was 12 frames per second. So 436 frames at 12 frames per second is about 37 seconds long. But yes, those are the little like details I wanted to tell you about it at first. And now I'm gonna show all the different clips of me getting it all ready. I didn't get pictures of like the whole process because I didn't think about filming it at first, and then partially through I was like, oh, I should be filming this for a video. But I didn't realize, I didn't like think about it until then. But after I thought about it, I filmed as much as, like, I filmed whenever I remembered. But yes, so I'm gonna put in the clips about that. I hope you like it. Hey everyone, in this clip I did my first coat of watercolor for the bear, and you could tell there's only a little bit of details on there, and there's Dominic doing his math homework. And this is my second coat of watercolor on the bear. This is the process of how I am connecting all the parts to the bear. So I used a thread and tape, and I kind of sewed all the limbs together. And before I connected them with the thread, I used my kneaded eraser to stick them together. This is a clip of me starting my props. So I'm starting to draw the pumpkins out, and here's another clip of the bear. Fully finished. The legs and arms and the head are all fully connected with the thread, and the way I connected them with the thread makes them fully posable, so I can move them however I wanted. Here's a closer look on how they look. Here is a clip after I've watercolored all the props, well, most of the props. This is the first coat. There's the bear again. This is after I did the second coat of watercolor on every prop, and I made the tablecloth. This is the final of all the props before I cut them out. They're fully watercolored. I used my color pencil and the acrylic paint for highlights. I'm watching one of my favorite YouTubers, Tiffany Wang. This is my model bear that I made. So this is the very first bear that I made, and I cut it out and put it together to see how I wanted it to look and how I wanted it to move compared to my final bear. And before I even made a model out of paper, I drew it out on my iPad. I used Procreate, and I sketched it out, and I put an X where I wanted each of the joints to be. And then I measured out the height and stuff, and then I put like descriptions of how I wanted it to look. Like how I wanted it to look kind of like dirty and worn out, like a worn out teddy bear. But yeah, I modeled it out twice, once digitally, once non-digitally, then I made the final bear. That's how they look. And then this is the models of all the props next to the finals of all the props. And for everything I made a stencil first out of paper, then I made the final one on the watercolor paper, and that's when I painted it. And the same as the bear, I sketched everything out digitally before I drew it on paper. And for each of the jack-o'-lanterns, I cut out the little cutouts. I actually cut it out and I put a black piece of paper behind. I taped it. And I made and cut out each little prop here. It took quite a while to do. This is a little side quest. This is my very dirty watercolor palette. I love how it looks when it's dirty, but it was just getting all my colors mucky and I couldn't mix any new colors. So I decided to clean it, and this is it fully cleaned. Obviously, it's not perfect and my watercolor did stain the plastic, but it's clean. It doesn't look as artistic or anything when it's clean, but I promise you it's gonna look the same way it did before in a few weeks. This is the table and the tablecloth fully cut out, and there is my digital version of them. And along with everything else with my tablecloth, I used a little paper stencil to draw each of the ghosts, so they were uniform. They're very tiny, and fun fact, I actually had to remake the wooden table part because my roommate's cat, Ginger, lost my other one. It was fine, it's very easy to make, but I just thought it was silly. But yes, this is the final table. On to the actual production of my animation. This is the stop motion lab in my building, my animation building, and I'm just showing you how I set everything up. First I have to turn on the lights and take the lens cover off of the camera, and this is a little demonstration on how everything works. In the stop motion lab we use a software called Dragonframe. And what we do, you place down your object and then you hit that button and it takes a picture. And I have the onion skin on, which shows like my previous photo and what I'm currently doing, so you could easily move it. See how my hand is shown slightly, it's like slightly shown, but it's like transparent? That's the onion skin. So this is what you do, you just place objects and then take pictures and move them very slowly. And that's a very rough animation. This is my very beginning. I'm setting up the bear, and I'm also using my kneaded eraser to hold his body down so it's not moving around while I'm animating. I also use the kneaded eraser to stick down the paper that I'm using as a backdrop so nothing moves in ways that I don't want it to while I'm animating. But yes, I'm just showing you how I used the kneaded eraser to stick everything down. Some people use clay to stick everything down. I just always have kneaded eraser with me, so it was easier for me. And this is me changing the focus because the bear was a little out of focus. I've started to add in the other props I put in the base table, and now I'm adding the tablecloth. And just like the bear, the parts of the bear that I don't want to move, I'm using the kneaded eraser to hold it down. This is in the beginning of the animation, whenever I started to actually do things. And this process takes a very long time because I'm just slightly moving the bear and slightly moving the props and taking a picture. Those are all the props I've gone through already. and this is what it looks like so far. This is how everything's looking a little further along in the process. It is taking quite a long time, and there's only one pumpkin face left. There's Dominic, he was with me for the whole process. We went through, I think, 3 movies we watched in the time that we were filming. The animation isn't done yet, and we already have 342 frames, which is 342 little pictures that I had to take. It was already 1:28 in the morning. In this clip, I'm trying to show how little I change the bear's position for each frame. And as you can see, I just slightly move his arm down, and then I take a picture. But it's very tedious because you have to make sure that you're not moving it too much, or else it will look choppy or the movement would be too fast. So you have to move it only a little bit and then take a picture. This is the very last bit of the animation. We are getting towards the end, and we're at 392 frames, and it is 1:44 a.m. It's almost done. I was very excited, and I was relatively tired. This is the very end of the animation, the last clip for the last frame. All the props were used, and we ended with 436 frames, and it was 1:56 a.m. Hey guys, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed all the clips of the process of me making my first stop motion that I ever made. I am planning on making a lot more with the bear character, and I have some more characters that I'm currently designing now, so I'm gonna have more characters than just the bear. So I'm excited to make more stop motions for you guys and more animations once I get into the different types of animation like 2D and stuff with my classes. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching. Bye.